So going back to the fans for a second here, if you're at that game and you're enjoying yourself and you're watching the Battle of Alberta unfold, and all of a sudden Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators comes towards you and starts giving you high fives, and you notice the two beers in his back pockets, how are you reacting?
Oh, I'd love it. Like,
Yeah.
I have to be honest here. I don't understand. I don't know. Why is anybody on the other side of this? Like, Brady Tkachuk hasn't had a game to play for the Ottawa Senators in 3 weeks. He's allowed to go to other hockey games. Like, I actually know this happens every playoffs. I guarantee you he was not the only other current NHLer in the building. Now, he was the only one wearing kind of a Matthew Tkachuk red t-shirt and pounding beers openly and whatever. Like, a lot of guys maybe have cut a lower profile in that situation. But like, players know they got buddies on the teams. They're just back home and, starting their off season, maybe not back into workout mode yet. Like, it's completely normal to go and enjoy a game in the stands as a current NHL player. I see no issue with it. The fact that it's his brother, like, how could anybody tell you wouldn't support your brother? You don't think Matthew Tkachuk, situations reversed, wouldn't be in Ottawa watching that game? Like, I just think it's silly that someone would suggest otherwise. Like, you're supposed to be a robot with only allegiance to one thing, and that's the crest on the front of the jersey, and you can have no life or no other thoughts or no, like, it's insane. Like, there's not even a counterpoint here. It's crazy to say that he shouldn't be cheering for his brother, or even if he's cheering for the Flames, even if he's the world's biggest Flames fan. I don't see that as an issue. Like, I don't think he's going to throw a game against the Flames next year.
No. The wild thing about this topic, because I'm with you, I think it's cool to see that he's supporting his brother and his family's all there watching the games. And like, I put that out there, and like 99% of the comments I got were all thinking the same thing. Like, this is like a great show of support from the family. He's supporting his brother. I've only really seen like one person, I'm not going to like you mention their name, but like only seen one person kind of disagree with it. And even them, they said like, it's just weird. They didn't like full on condemn it. Like, it's a really cool thing to see.
Well, what's weird is, it's not all that common that you have brothers in the NHL. Like, I know we can all think of a number of circumstances, but it's not like every set of brothers plays in the league. And, in this case, they both play for Canadian teams. They're both really good players, sort of prominent players in their markets. And so it gets a little more attention. But as I say, I don't find this strange at all. And, I told the story, I think the last pod, like, I know this one jumps in my mind. James Van Riemsdyk was on the ice when the Blackhawks won, and his brother Trevor in 2015 won the Stanley Cup. And like, now he wasn't wearing a jersey and running around with a bunch of beer, but that's maybe more of a personality difference than he was keeping a bit lower profile. But I don't see any issue with this. Look, Brady Tkachuk just signed a long-term deal in Ottawa. He's the team captain. I doubt any of his teammates are thinking like, oh, he doesn't love us anymore, or he's divided loyalties. I think what he's showing is that he actually is a tremendously loyal guy. He's loyal to the Senators when he's playing hockey for them, and when it's the off season, he's loyal to his family. I see no, like, to me, it's not even. I don't see the other side to this. Like, this is, like, it's great that he loves sports. It's great that he loves hockey enough that he bothers to go to a game. It's great that he loves his brother and his family enough that he supports them. And we've all known the Tkachuks to some degree, if you've been watching them, like, they're very fun-loving guys. They're a great family. Keith Tkachuk's one of the legends of the sport. I think it's a great thing. Like, both brothers too, like, they go, I know their sister plays at college, I think, at field hockey. And like, if you've watched their Instagram and stuff, like, they go to her games and like cheer for her and whoop it up. So I just think it's a great sign of solidarity for their family. And I hope he continues. Honestly, I hope that the haters aren't going to take over on this one.
Like, one hater too. Like, literally, like, I've never seen hockey Twitter so in favor of one thing happening as much as I've seen this. This is like impressive in its own, that it is not as much of a fight as it is. Like, right. It's just like, that's what I think is really impressive.
My brother-in-law is a season ticket holder of the Senators, and a long suffering, I'll say at this point, but diehard. He DM'd me this morning. He's like, what a beauty he is. And it was just, one of the videos of Brady that was going around. Like, I don't know. That's from someone who pays a lot of money, or has paid over his time a lot of money to support the team. Like, he doesn't see a problem with it. I mean, I don't see an issue here at all.
What about if it was like, I tried to make the point to Canadians fans that, like, What if like Nick Suzuki was supporting his brother Ryan, who's in the Carolina Hurricanes organization? And with those two fan bases, I'm not sure if you're as familiar, but those two seem to go back and forth online just because something about an offer sheet and Jesperi Kotkaniemi, you may or may not remember that. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of online animosity. And I think some people were trying to suggest to me that maybe that wouldn't work as well. But like, I think that's just ridiculous. Like, I think it would, like, Nick Suzuki wouldn't care. And I like the idea that players are able to go support their siblings if they're around the league, even if there might be like a weird like rivalry thing going on. Like, you have it right. Be a human, support your family if they're there, have feelings. I like the way you're looking at it.
I don't care if it was some connection of Boston, Montreal, whatever, Toronto, Montreal, like whatever we deem these fierce rivalries. Like, we're all mostly lucky, blessed enough to have families. Like, I think it's sort of like family above all else in this sense. Like what, I mean, let's face it. What are sports teams? I know we all, if you're a fan of one, put a lot of emotion into it, but it's laundry, man. Like it's a logo on the front of a sweater. Like it's not, I think blood trumps that in my mind. And so whether it's Nick Suzuki and his brother or whatever has gone on between like GM's past of those like, I think that supporting your family is a pretty noble thing. And like, I actually like seeing it from Brady. I think it's cool. So I'm on the other side. Like, not only do I think it's not a problem, I think it's actually awesome that he's been there and been that supportive, high-fiving fans, drinking beers. Like, how old is he? 21, 22? Live your life, man. Enjoy it. Like, these guys work hard. You know he's going to spend his whole summer probably with Matthew, working out, getting in shape, being ready when it comes time for camp. These guys have tremendously demanding lives and jobs. This is the one time a year, if your team is out of the playoffs, you can kind of relax a little bit. He could be in like Cabo right now, but he's choosing to go to Calgary to be at these games. Like, I think it's great. And that's not a shot at Calgary. I actually vacation in Calgary usually once a year, but I'm just saying that like he could be doing anything and he's supporting his family. I think that's really cool.
Sports Interaction is your home for NHL playoff betting. Before the game starts, live in play, or how your favorite player will perform. Canada plays at SIA. Doing it right since 1997. With the most competitive odds, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
Like, Kyle Dubas goes way back with Jack Campbell. Like, I'm talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 years, maybe not quite that much, like 13, 14 years. Like, they've known each other a long, long time. And if you know Jack Campbell, you love Jack Campbell. Like, that's just a fact. You probably could sense that even from afar, the way his teammates gravitate towards him. On the media day, this kind of went under the radar a little bit because there's so much to talk about. Someone said, is it a priority to sign Jack Campbell, someone you've known for a long time after the season he had? And he said, I've known Jack a long time. I just see him like Ilya Mikheyev and Mark Giordano and Ilya Buchkin and all the other players. And like, he basically said it's not a priority in a roundabout way, or that he's no more important than any of our players who might walk. It basically depends on how much money he wants to make. Again, from afar, you might think that's not a big change, but like, that's the Leafs starting goalie this year. And there's big questions. Like, what do they do next if they move on from Campbell? I thought, look, it might've just been a hard line in the sand, almost just like, knowing that Jack Campbell and his agent are going to see that quote. Maybe they're like, ooh, maybe they're actually willing to walk away. Like, it might be part of the larger negotiation that's going on, but that would be a sign, for example, of it's not exactly trading DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi, but if they let Jack Campbell walk, I would say that's a relatively big surprise because Jack Campbell is beloved by his teammates. You heard the Sioux chants at Scotiabank Arena, and again, because there's a long personal history there. Kyle Dubas knew him before either was in the OHL. Then he trades for him when he's with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Trades for him with the Maple Leafs from LA back in February 2020. If he just lets him walk. I think we might see some. That's what I mean. Even Jake Muzzin, like if that would be another example where that's someone that they love, where there's a long history. He might have to make a difficult decision with some of these guys or multiple ones, and that might sort of reshape the way things look for the organization as well.
By the way, now's a good time to plug your latest with North Star Bets, why sentiment won't factor in Jack Campbell's Maple Leafs future, which you can read online. And you do go into all of this. I still can't believe I guess considering how his career has gone, it does explain why his career earnings have been essentially under 10 mil. But I can't imagine a scenario where he doesn't ask for plenty money, whether it's from the Leafs or anyone else.
Well, look, Jack Campbell was an 11th overall draft pick 12 years ago. And really, this was actually the first of the 12 years since that time where he was played more than half his team's games in the NHL. And frankly, for like 7 of those years, he was basically stuck in the American Hockey League, went down to the ECHL for a time, looked like a bust, frankly. We don't see goalies get chosen as high as 11th overall too often. And so when they do, I mean, Jack Campbell won everything for Team USA as a teenager. It was like the under 18s, the under 17s, the World Juniors. Like, this guy was a can't miss prospect. Took him a long time to get here. And so as a result of that, yes, like relative to his peers, he's not made a lot of money. And he's in a great spot right now. The last 2 seasons, he has the 10th best save percentage in the league among goaltenders, 11th in wins. Basically any of these, some of the more underlying statistics for goaltending, but like goals saved above expected, he's in about that range, roughly 10th to 15th in the league. Basically, I would argue then a top half for the last 2 seasons anyway, NHL starter. And look, there might be age questions related to him because he's 30. There could be some durability questions in there. He's had some injuries. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk that teams are going to line up at his door on July 13th when free agency opens. But, if you look at, there's 4 goalies that I can identify that signed for $5 million and above that I think he's got reasonable comparisons to. Cal Peterson in LA got $5 million. Linus Ullmark, when he went to Boston in free agency last year, got $5 million on a 4-year deal. $5 million went to UC Saros. Probably in hindsight, UC could have probably pushed for more. I think he's above this tier of the goalies I'm mentioning. And Elvis Merzlikins got $5.4 million from Columbus on his extension. And so, if you look at the career numbers to the points where those guys started those games, again, sort of removing Saros from the group, I think that Jack Campbell's got a case to ask for $5 million minimum. And I don't know if the Leafs can pay him that. Certainly, unless they're able to unload Peter Mrazek's contract, it's hard to imagine them signing him for that kind of money. So, this looks like it could be headed towards a divorce. But the one asterisk I'll put there is that I think this is also a summer where the Leafs are going to be looking at a multitude of changes. And so maybe long before it gets to the free agency day, they've shed some salary or made some other moves that make this easier to stomach. But as it stands right now, like Jack Campbell was speaking to Toronto media on Tuesday, and he's like, I just can't wait to see what the team looks like next season and how I can get better. I love being a Leaf. I love Toronto. It's like, man, the way it's looking right now, it doesn't appear to me like it's headed for him staying here unless, again, there's some kind of larger change that we don't know yet know about.